Through blurry eyes, barely able to remain on his feet, Jack forced himself to focus on the Pyro. He groaned in despair when he saw the man put his hands together and set off another bright white spark between them. The smile on his face was as wide and cruel as a demented clown's. "This is it, my last stand." The Pyro rolled his hands, kneading the spark into an expanding ball of white-hot fire. Jack found his gaze drawn again to the shifting interplay of lights inside the little sun and realized dimly that it was hypnotic. He had managed to break the trance last time, but it had taken too much out of him. He couldn't break it again. Vaguely aware that he was about to die, Jack had no higher ambition than to meet his death with as much dignity as he could muster. The sun was spinning and growing, the lights twisting and turning like fiery snakes. Someone tackled him from behind and knocked him halfway to the floor, then scooped him up and dragged him to his feet with tremendous strength while simultaneously hauling him backward. Another agent stepped forward, holding what looked like a grenade launcher. When he pulled the trigger, a grenade popped out of the front and exploded midair. It wasn't the kind of grenade you'd use to kill people, though. This was a fire extinguisher grenade, dousing the whole room and everyone in it in a fire-smothering foam. The Pyro cried out with anger, frustration, and sheer disgust. The agent who had grabbed Jack half-dragged, half-carried him toward the back door. Jack saw the van in the alley outside, waiting for him with open doors. He hadn't intended to be captured by the FPM, but at the moment, that seemed like his best prospect for survival. The walls of the building suddenly shifted, and plaster rained down on their heads from above. Nora's repair shop was about to collapse on them. The agent grunted as he lifted Jack onto his burly shoulders and made a run for it. Still shaking the fire extinguisher foam off his hands and out of his hair, the Pyro started running after them. Despite his injuries, Jack still had enough energy left for one last burst of effort. He glanced rapidly around the room, and his eyes fell on the defunct refrigerator in the back corner. As the Pyro came after them, Jack picked the fridge up with a blast of air and hurled it through the room at the man. Once again, time seemed to slow down. He had time to think about the refrigerator's bright yellow color, more like cheap mustard than anything else. He had time to notice the patches of reddish-brown rust that discolored it here and there. He had time to consider how huge and heavy the old thing looked. It turned end over end as it flew across the room, and if it had hit the Pyro at full speed, it would have killed him instantly. However, that didn't happen. As Jack expected, the Pyro responded to the attack the same way he responded to everything, with a blast of fire. An angry, overly hot blast of searing flame hit the fridge, and the water and refrigerant inside rapidly expanded and exploded out. The fridge flew off, hit a wall, and collapsed a section of the roof, but the violent explosion next to the Pyro's face was enough to stagger and confuse him, and to bide Jack and the two agents time to get away.